Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. The Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh faces serious allegations of violating land reforms and intimidating the press. How does he defend himself? That's the key issue I shall raise today in an exclusive interview with Dr. Y.S. Rajashekhara Reddy. Chief Minister, let's start with the 310 acres that your Idupalaya estate surrendered in December. It said that to begin with you had no business possessing that land, and secondly that you may have wrongly possessed it for perhaps as long as 30 years. In those circumstances, why shouldn't you be prosecuted?
First, let me make one clarification, Mr. Thapar. This 310 acres of land was not purchased by me. It was purchased by my father 30 years back. And in this 310 acres, only 2 acres of land was in my name.
But is the land assigned land? Because that's why you surrendered it. So why did you not surrender it earlier?
I'll tell you. As and when it was brought to my notice, that if this land, if traced to 1905 Record of Rights book, register book, this can be traced as a government land. The moment this fact was brought to my notice, I had surrendered this.
You mean you were ignorant? You were ignorant of the facts?
You are absolutely right.
But tell me something. Should you not have made an inquiry into the background of the land you owned? Is it justifiable that ignorance should be your excuse?
No, basically, this is, I mean, in my name only 2 acres of land was there.
It doesn't matter. The principle of ignorance applies.
And in those 2 acres, I never go and till the land.
But so what? You still owned it.
But still, ultimately it was my father who had given it to me.
But you inherited it.
And this 30
and you
years,
own it as the inherited son.
Fine, what do I do? The moment the fact was brought to my notice, I gave it to the government.
But it's an amazing thing you're saying. You've been an MLA, you've been an MP, you've been a state minister, you've been leader of the opposition, today you're chief minister, and you're saying you were ignorant?
Ignorance of fact is no crime. Ignorant of law may be.
It's not just facts that you are ignorant of. As a 4-time or 5-time MLA in Andhra Pradesh, you have been chairman of the Constituency Assignment Committee, and you were ignorant of the fact that you yourself owned assigned land?
That's right, I'm telling you. The fact was never brought to my notice.
So ignorance is your excuse.
It was brought to my notice, I gave it to the
So you're saying ignorance is your excuse? Ignorance is your excuse?
Yes, it is.
Chandrababu Naidu has written a letter to the Prime Minister on the 16th of December. He says that in fact you're guilty of violating 6 separate Andhra Pradesh laws, including the Andhra Pradesh Land Reforms Act of 1973, the Andhra Pradesh Assigned Lands Act of 1977, and he says that you could be liable to up to 2 years imprisonment.
I would request Chandrababu Naidu to jolly well file complaints in relevant courts of law and prove that if I had done...
Are you challenging him to take you to court?
I am challenging him to take me to any court of his choice.
Let me make a suggestion to you. If you are so confident that you can face up to inquiry and a court case as well, then why don't you step aside as Chief Minister, say to the District Collector of Kadapa where the land is located, take a decision whether I should be prosecuted. I will not be above you as Chief Minister to stop you doing so. Go ahead and do the honourable thing.
If there is at least a prima facie case against me, I could do that. Chandrababu Naidu had made complaints to umpteen number of people.
Let me suggest 2 other reasons why you should do this. By your own admission in the State Assembly on the 14th of December, you have revealed that your estate still contains, after you've surrendered 310 acres, 180 acres which is government wasteland, assigned land, tank land, temple land and rasta land. More importantly, this land is surrounded by a compound wall that you have built. Why are you not surrendering this land?
Everything, whatever I am doing is as per law. The moment this 310 acres was brought to my notice that it should not have been there, I surrendered.
What about this other land? Now,
if this 180 acres, if there is anything wrong with this land, let Mr. Chandrababu Naidu go to any relevant court and agitate against it. Why should I? Unless there is a prima facie case, why should I resign?
I'll tell you one of the things wrong with this 180 acres. You have surrounded it with a compound wall or a compound fence. That compound wall denies access to the public to this land. That is illegal.
The compound wall there is because this has to be a fence there, otherwise there are a lot of forest animals which come.
Maybe, but as a result of the fencing, the public doesn't have access to what is public land. That is illegal.
No, it was not that way at all.
It may not have been your intention, but that is the result.
It was not that way at all.
Will you remove the fence? Will you remove the fence?
No, in spite of the fence, there was a lot of access to public. If the people want to come, there are gates there, people come.
But you have no right to fence off public land. Why have you fenced it off?
It is not that way at all. If at all I've done anything wrong, let Mr. Chandrababu Naidu file any...
Once again, for the second time in this interview, you're challenging Chandrababu Naidu to take you to court.
Yes.
Both in terms of your delay in handing over the 310 acres, as well as now in terms of the 180 acres which you retain. In both cases, you're saying, take me to court.
Chandrababu Naidu is jolly well ready. He can jolly well do this.
All right, let me bring up a third aspect. Some of the land surrendered by the Idupulapaya estate was in fact controlled by two companies. I'll name them: YS Raja Reddy Private Plantations Limited and Raja Reddy Resorts Private Limited. You're a shareholder in both. Yet, in your election affidavit of 2004, you neither revealed you were a shareholder nor that this company controlled land. That's concealment.
No, it's not that way.
What do you mean it's not that way?
In my election, returns or whatever that is, revelations, I did mention that I own some shares worth of so and so money.
No, forgive me. In your election affidavits, and here they are with me, you do not mention any shareholding whatsoever in either YS Raja Reddy Plantations Limited or in Raja Reddy Resorts Limited. Nor do you mention any of the lands those companies own. You mention other lands, you mention other shares, but these two companies and their lands are concealed.
No, no. These particular lands were given to my daughter as Sridhanam. When she got married, I gave those lands to her.
When you surrendered 310 acres, you gave a statement to the State Assembly. That State Assembly statement showed that some of the land, in fact, not just some of the land, 115 acres was owned by YS Raja Reddy Plantations and another 40 acres was owned by Raja Reddy Resorts.
Yes,
None of that is in your affidavits, neither the companies and the shareholding nor the quantity of land. That is concealment.
It's absolutely not correct. In my election written whatever I have filed, I categorically said that I own so many shares.
But you didn't mention these companies. You didn't mention shares in these companies.
The total quantum of shares has been mentioned.
Well, when you specified by name all the other companies in which you have shares, and you specified some 8 or 9, why have you left these out?
The total quantum, if it is mentioned, it's not necessary that I mention the shareholders of each and every company.
Well, that's a very interesting and disputable answer, but let's leave it aside. People would have to judge for itself. Let me now turn to the 997 acres at Kundur, which you surrendered in January. You claim that this is non-agricultural land and therefore it's not subject to the land ceiling, and you have in fact, you say, a court order to establish this. The opposition say that the court order only establishes that some 540 acres are non-agricultural. Of that 540, they say barely 300 were in your or your family's possession. What, therefore, of the remaining 650 acres? Are they subject to land ceiling, and are you once again guilty of wrongly possessing land?
The opposition claim is totally wrong. It's not 550 acres, it's a total 1,310 acres of agriculture, non-agricultural land.
But they say you don't own all of that. They say of that 1,300 covered by the court order, all you own was 300.
No.
So the rest of your land is not covered by the court order.
No, no, it's not that way.
You're absolutely sure?
Absolutely sure.
The opposition are wrong?
Absolutely sure.
So once again,
the opposition is absolutely wrong. I challenge the opposition again to go on to the court.
A third time?
Oh yes, third time.
Let me point out something else. The opposition have said that in fact, for land ceiling purposes, you've claimed that the land at Kundur was non-agricultural. Yet for income tax purposes, you've claimed that the income earned at Kundur is agricultural. How can you have it both ways?
Well, at that point of time, if I have not known, or I don't know about the income tax, whatever has been filed in income tax.
You mean once again you're ignorant of what you're filing yourself in income tax?
No, no, about this particular land, because I own so many lands in so many places.
Ah, you're so rich, you have so much land in so many places,
yes.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Ultimately, whatever has been filed in income tax.
But if the wrong thing has been filed, if you have wrongly claimed exemption, once again you're liable for prosecution.
No, Mr. Thapar, I'm again telling you, whatever has been filed to the income tax has been filed. If there is anything wrong in any one of the filings, in any one of the declarations, again I challenge the opposition to go even on this to the court of law.
You know something else the opposition say? The opposition also say.
The fourth time I'm challenging in this interview for the opposition to go to the court.
All right, let's see if there's a fifth time.
Yeah.
The opposition say that you yourself, your family, and your family companies are in wrongful possession of a further, perhaps as many as 4,000 acres of land in Andhra Pradesh in Benami holdings. And in this instance, they've given many examples of the village where the land is, the district where the land is, the survey numbers, and the quantity of land. Do you own Benami land?
I just do not own any Benami land. If at all that sort of Benami lands are there, let them again go to any
Hang on. I'll tell you what lands they claim are Benami.
Fine.
To begin with, Chintalapalli village, Vemula Mandal, Kadapa district, survey number 154, 180 acres. Mayalapalli village, Railway Koduru Mandal, Kadapa district, survey numbers 1215, 1217, 1219, 1220, 1221, 1225, 150 acres. Are these your lands held Benami?
Absolutely not.
You're denying it?
I challenge the opposition again to go even on this to the court.
You're throwing challenges to the opposition today as if you were gifting barfi almost. Why don't you instead do the honorable thing? If you're so convinced that your conscience is clear, you've done nothing wrong, then say to the district collector, go ahead and prosecute me. I give you permission as chief minister.
Why should I say unless there is a prima facie case?
Don't you think there's a need to prove that you're doing the honorable and the right thing? There are horrible charges against you.
No, there is absolutely no prima facie case. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu and his party is known to put only false claims.
Forget Chandrababu Naidu for a moment. As chief minister, you have sworn an oath to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India. Now it emerges, whether you did it knowingly or whether you did it unknowingly, that you were in possession of assigned lands, you were in possession of lands covered by the Land Reform Act for perhaps as much as 30 years. What sort of faith and allegiance is that to the Constitution?
To the best of my knowledge, whatever has been done, nothing is unlawful. I only want to say that if at all there is anything unlawful, instead of Chandrababu Naidu writing to so many people or so many authorities, let him again also write to the agitate about this in the court.
Why don't you then, if you're so convinced your conscience is clear, do the honorable thing? Step aside as chief minister, let the law take its course. When you're proved to be innocent, and you're confident you will be, then you come back in triumph.
Every day Mr. Chandrababu Naidu alleges something or other. If I go on resigning for everything and anything he alleges, I'll have to resign in 365 days, 365 times.
So as far as the land issue is concerned, your conscience is clear.
Absolutely clear.
The only thing that you did was that you delayed in handing it back, but that is because you didn't know the land was wrongly acquired. That's all.
Yeah, basically not knowing a fact is no crime.
That's a very dubious sort of explanation for the chief minister of a state to say that he didn't know the facts. But let's leave it there. Let's take a break. I want to come back and ask you, are you guilty of intimidating the press? Are you targeting Ramaji Rao and his newspapers because they're exposing corruption in your government? Worse still, corruption perhaps in your family. That's the subject in a moment's time. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an exclusive interview with the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Y.S. Rajashekhara Reddy. Chief Minister, both the opposition and the press believe that you are targeting Ramaji Rao and his company Margdarshi Financiers because his newspaper Inadu and his television channels have gone out of their way to expose corruption in your government and worse still, corruption perhaps amongst your family members. Are you hitting at Margdarshi Financiers out of revenge?
This is totally unfounded. This is totally baseless.
All right, you say it's unfounded.
In fact,
let me prove to you, and I'm interrupting to do this, why it may have some connection. Can you deny that your interest and concern in Margdarshi Financiers as a deposit taker and your claim that they are making losses happened only after Inadu had spent several weeks pointing out government complicity and perhaps your own family's complicity in what's called the Outer Ring Road scandal?
For that matter, there is nothing with regard to government or my family connected with Outer Ring Road at all.
When not just Inadu, even Tribune newspaper in Chandigarh has alleged that your family members and what are called your own men have wrongly made money.
When the allegations were there, I immediately constituted CBI inquiry. I constituted judicial inquiry. If at all there are anything for me or my family or for my government to hide, why will I do all this?
I'm talking not about your government hiding, I'm talking about the fact, are you taking revenge on Ramaji Rao through his finance company for exposing complicity in scandal, or at least alleging? Is this
Absolutely
revenge?
not. If Ramoji Rao has done, has written something in his newspapers, that is his own business. I have got nothing to do with that.
You say it's his business, but just a moment. If you're really not taking revenge, then how do you explain the fact that although the RBI had already taken cognizance of your MLA Arun Kumar's complaint against Margadasi Financiers, you nonetheless went ahead to appoint a special